Layout and design. What is the experience when you view a design piece? Are you overwhelmed? Overjoyed? Excited? Calmed? Maybe turned off or not sure what to make of it? Often the layout of a design makes the first impression on the viewer. It can decide whether your design is worth exploring more for a few additional precious seconds or whether it should be ignored completely. As a person in charge of communicating a large amount of information to the viewer, your job is to organize it in a manageable, digestible way. You can prioritize certain parts of the layout simply by its position and composition of elements. Do we want to prioritize the photo? Are we selling a product? Then yes, the photo might become the mainstay of the design. Do we want to deliver a strong stop-in-your-tracks message, maybe with a straightforward call to action? Then the way we lay out our type without photos might make that message more clear. We see bad examples of layout all the time. These mostly consist of poorly placed photos, too many photos, or awkward photo cropping. These bad examples can also include too much information for the viewer to read, often discouraging them from reading more. What we need to do is entice and lead the viewer on a journey through our design in a planned order. Take, for example, this concert flyer. We want to set the mood and tone for the piece by having the right photo. We also want the photo to be the first thing they see. Next, the band name would be pretty important, so this needs to be the next thing in the priority list in terms of layout. There is no point in the viewer reading this flyer if they cannot attend on the concert date, so having that be the next prominent item in the layout is key in showing them what they want to see. So they say, where do I buy tickets? Let's see. Right after the date, there is key information there. It is easy to find too because of the highlighted box. There is some smaller text that is not so important, but they can still find and read it if they are still missing information they are curious about. Layout can communicate emotions, just like photos and typography. Having a layout that is uniform and rigid with perfect alignment can communicate a sense of professionalism, cleanliness, and tidiness, perfect for a professional organization or bank, for example. White space is the spacing between elements. Having a large amount of white space can continue this feeling of openness and express a feeling of calm. White space that is tight can spark emotions of anxiety or entice a sense of anger or urgency. It generally does not work to have little white space around your elements. Take, for instance, this graphic. With enough white space, the design has a chance to breathe. It just feels much better. When I see a design work that needs to be tweaked or revised, most of the time it's because there's not enough white space or breathing room around the margins of the piece or the outer edges. In print design, it's always safe to keep text and important information inside the margin area that goes around a given design piece, not only for it to be printed properly, but for it to feel clean and professional. The balance or overall composition of a design is very important in maintaining these emotional responses. If the balance of a design is off, it may not evoke your desired response, and that's why it's important to maintain the right balance between photos, type, and other design elements. This is known as composition. Take, for example, this poster design. The layout contains 5 photos and a few lines of type, but I seem a little bit lost trying to find the focal point of the design. Where should my eye look? Where should it focus? Which photo is more important? It seems to lack a sense of purpose and meaning and seems disorganized. But with a few tweaks, we can change the design from confusing to simple and striking. With 1 or 2 photos, we can change the entire feeling of the design. Now it's simple, precise, with a clear focal point. It communicates a clear message without overwhelming the viewer. Focal point is an important aspect in the layout of a design. Maintain one clear focal point. Having 2 competing focal points makes it hard to digest the information as the viewer does not know which focal point to draw their eye on first. So what makes an effective layout? How do I know when to make a simple layout simple or complex? How do I know which emotion I need to evoke? We're going to discover that in the next lesson, so stay tuned.